this is a place that kind of holds some special memories for you, Ruben. I'm Kevin Eckelberry. I'm back here with Coach Carla Thornton, and once again, I appreciate it. After graduating from Callaway High School, Carla Thornton was a freshman basketball player at Bethune-Cookman when she suffered a major injury that derailed her college career before it even got started. At the time, that was a major blow for Carla, but looking back 20 years later, the injury was a blessing in disguise. Unable to play, Carla became an unofficial assistant coach at Bethune-Cookman, and that sparked a passion in coaching that has not diminished in the 2 decades since. After graduating from Bethune-Cookman, Carla began a career in education and coaching that included a stop at Gardner-Newman Middle School in LaGrange. Carla found out at Gardner-Newman that she had what it took to lead a program, and she led the Mustangs to a league championship. Carla later got a chance to become the head coach of the Troop High girls basketball team, and she has held that position for more than a decade, and what a run it has been. Carla has helped Troop's program become one of the best in the state, and in 2020, the Lady Tigers reached the state championship game before falling short. Troop has continued to win big in recent years, and Carla's steady leadership is a big reason why. Carla is a competitor, and she wants to win as much as anyone, but that's not why she is in coaching. Coaching allows Carla to impact the lives of young people, to help shape their lives, and that's a mission she takes seriously. At the same time, Carla is committed to winning, and she pushes her players to be their best, and the team is in the midst of a fantastic stretch of success. Family is also important to Carla, and her mother Sabrina has been with her every step of the way. It has been a privilege to get to know Carla over the years, and I have so much respect not only for her coaching ability, but for her commitment to the players she leads. That commitment, by the way, does not end once the players leave Troop High. She is always there for any of her former players. I enjoyed talking with Carla, and we touched on so many topics, from her high school days to that special season that nearly ended with the state championship, and to the pride she takes in seeing her former players succeed in life. Thanks so much to Carla for taking the time to do this, and I hope you enjoy this week's edition of Kevin's Corner. Hello, I'm Kevin Eckelberry with BTV Sports, and I'm here with a very special guest today. Coach Carla Thornton, the head coach of the Troop girls basketball team. We're actually here in the, I guess we could still call it the new Troop High gymnasium. It's been open for a few years right now.
Yes, sir.
And it's spectacular. I know.
I love it.
The old gym was nice, but there's nothing like this new place. But,
not at all.
But I really appreciate you joining us for this week's edition. I've known Coach Thornton for quite a while.
Yes,
and see, how long have you been the head coach at Troop now?
Ooh, I want to say 13 years.
Wow. Goes by quickly, doesn't
Telling
it?
my age now. Yes, sir.
It goes by really quick, which is, I believe that makes you the most senior coach here
Wow.
at the high school, probably by a good margin.
Yes, sir.
I know Coach Tanner Glissen's been here about 8 years now.
Yes, sir.
So 13 years is one place.
Yeah, it's
one
a long
place.
time for a coach at one place.
And
Yes,
what
sir.
that tells me is, number one, the commitment you have to the school, and number two, how special this place has been for you.
Yes, sir.
But
Very
first of all, I just wanted to talk to you about your background a little bit. I know you grew up in West Point.
Yes, sir.
But you ended up going to Callaway High School.
Yes, sir.
And you played for 3 different coaches at
Yes.
Callaway. But what was that experience like for you playing at Callaway High School?
It taught me a lot because each coach had different coaching styles. Each coach kind of asked something different of me, but all 3 of them helped mold me into who I am today. Taught me a lot about being a coach, a person, and a great teacher also.
Right. When you were growing up, obviously you liked basketball.
Yes.
Was there a point in time when you realized, I just really love the sport and kind of want to make it my life, so to speak?
Probably in college. Like once I got hurt, I realized my career may not go the way that I had originally planned. And so I just fell in love with the coaching aspect, watching film and just teaching people different aspects of the game. So I would say freshman year of college.
Right. You went to Bethune-Cookman.
Yes, sir.
In Florida. And I believe it was your freshman year, and you suffered, I believe it was a knee injury.
Yeah, tore my ACL.
Which is an incredibly disappointing thing. I mean, you're just getting started
Yes,
on
sir.
your college career. Before you know it, I mean, it's not over, but you know things are going to be different
Right.
at this point. And that was such a tough blow at the time. But in retrospect, I know that kind of allowed you to be more of an observer and be
Yes,
kind
sir.
of like an unofficial assistant coach. But
Right.
when you look back, you wouldn't want to go through that again, I'm sure.
Definitely not.
But at the same time, it gave you a chance to kind of step back, like I said. In a way, did that kind of like foster an interest in coaching for you?
It did. Like you said, just having to sit out and watch other people, and you saw a lot of things that you could have done better, that some of your teammates may have been able to do
Right.
better. So just always being on the court, always playing, and now I got to sit down and watch. It taught me a lot about patience also.
But at the same time, you went there to be a player.
I'd rather be a player
not
than
a coach, but you ended up coming back and playing some.
But it wasn't the same. You know,
Right.
my playing style had to change because I was known for my first step, and when
Right.
the knee is bad, it changes things.
When that happens, a lot of times I talk to people who've had injuries, and a lot of times they know when it happens it's going to be something serious. Was that how it was for you when it happened? You kind of knew, or?
Yeah, you know, I tried to play through it.
Okay.
You know, got a couple cortisone shots. But in the back of my mind, I'm like, do I want to walk later in life, or do I
Right.
want to play these next
Sure.
couple of games? So I had to think about the long picture.
Big picture,
Yes,
right?
sir, the big picture,
Absolutely.
yeah.
But outside of, obviously you went there to play basketball, but your experience at Bethune-Cookman, was that a really positive time for you?
It was a wonderful time. I mean, it's an HBCU. It's in Daytona Beach,
Okay.
Florida. So
Right.
I got the best of everything. You know, I got my education, I got my grades, I got my fun, I got my basketball. We didn't have NIL deals, but we still had a little money too. So it was wonderful.
That's really changed the college game, hasn't it?
Yes, yes, sir.
It's for things that used to be you would get suspended for, or like your program's going to be shut down for 5 years. Now it's okay. Yeah,
Right.
here's a check
Some
for
nice checks now.
$10,000. It is absolutely.
Thousands. I've seen millions.
It's really changed for sure. But
Yes, sir.
but as much as you enjoy that, and it just sounds like you kind of fell in love with Florida.
I did.
Too.
I did.
But clearly you decided to return home.
Yeah, that was
after
due
that.
to family, not more so myself. You know, at the time, my grandparents were both still here.
Right.
And I wanted to come back and be with them. So, you know, rest in peace to them. So,
Right.
But I decided to stay here.
Right, and you've never left, which is awesome.
Yes,
but
sir.
yeah, going back to high school, obviously I love high school basketball around here. When you look back, I've talked to people who played in the pros,
Yes,
and they
sir.
look back on those high school days as some of the most special times in their lives. When you look back, even though you played for 3 different coaches, I'm sure you made friendships that you probably still have to this
Oh,
day.
definitely.
Those times in high school, how much did that time mean to you?
Like everything, like even now when I go different schools, like people remember me from high school. They're
Wow.
like, hey, aren't you number 5 from Callaway? You that girl that used to wear those knee pads sliding all over the floor.
Yeah.
You that girl bothering people on defense. A lot of people are like, oh my gosh, your girls play just like you used to play. Like they're everywhere. They got so much energy. So I love to hear old stories like that.
I'm sure you take that as a compliment, right?
I do,
They
I
call
do.
you a pest, but that's
For good reason.
in a good way. And,
Yes, sir.
and obviously, you grew up in West Point. One of the cool things to me is each summer you still go back and do a youth camp
Yes, sir.
in West Point, and I know that's a lot of fun for
It
you too,
is.
to kind of reconnect with your roots there. But how much do you enjoy doing that each year?
Obviously a lot because I do it every year. You know, I've tried to take 1 year off, but they wouldn't let me. Parents were calling me and stuff. But those kids, they give me so much energy. You know, I feed off of them, especially heading into a new school year. Sometimes you're kind of drained, and they just remind me of like, this is a game. It's supposed to be fun. So I have to make sure I show back up every year.
Right. Coaching has to be a calling, doesn't it?
Yes,
I mean,
sir.
I tell people I have such incredible admiration for what coaches do.
Thank you.
First of all, you're a teacher, which is obviously a full-time job in itself, and then you throw coaching on top of it. So that's
Right.
basically like having 2 full-time jobs stacked on top of each other.
Yes, sir.
But when you decided to get into coaching, I'm sure you probably, maybe you weren't absolutely sure if this is something you want to do forever, but did you pretty quickly realize that, yeah, this is what I want to do with my life, or did that kind of take a little while?
I mean, some days I still can't believe that I'm a coach. Like I wake up and like, this is what I do. Like people take me seriously. They actually listen to me. Like it's crazy. Like I can't believe that this is my life.
Right.
And I get to do this every single day. So I'm just blessed to be in this position.
And when you look back, were there, obviously you had quite a few coaches at Callaway and in college.
Yes, sir.
is there somebody that really helped influence you? And I know you talked about your coach at Bethune-Cookman.
Yes. At the end of the day, a lot of great people, coaches, but I could say my mom, because she's been there day one. She's missed a couple games, not too many. She's always there from rec ball,
Right.
middle school ball, high school ball, college. She came to games, even at high school. Y'all know she'll be sitting right behind me, so can't thank my mom enough. That support means everything to me.
And your mom, Sabrina, she is wonderful, and
Yes, my twin.
I think you put you two side by side, and yeah, you absolutely do look just alike.
She tells everybody that she looks better, and I'm okay with that.
But the cool thing to me is the team is it's kind of like a family to her.
Yes, sir.
And to you too.
Yeah,
But
those are her grandkids. I don't
she's-
have any kids, so she accepts them.
And she's kind of adopted them
She
in a way. But I know how important family is to you. You mentioned your grandparents,
Yes, sir.
who are both no longer with us.
Yes, sir.
But they still are.
They
in a
are.
way.
They are.
And to have your mom's support,
Mm-hmm.
that's good times and bad. And while Troop basketball is doing great right now, there were
Yes.
times when it was a bit of a
Yes.
struggle.
Yes, sir.
To have that support
Right, she
has
kept
to
me
mean
motivated.
everything.
You know, my parents, they're heavy in the church, so she always reminds me, keep the faith,
Mm-hmm.
you know, never get down. Everything happens for a reason. Know who your strength comes
Sure.
from. So they always throw the Bible back at me, so I had to get myself back right, get back motivated.
Right, and keep you, maybe when times are really good, keep you humble a little bit too.
Oh, definitely. Oh, yeah. She'll call me my first, middle, last name. Yeah, I'm not going to tell everybody my business. But, yeah, she'll chop me back down.
Right,
Yes, sir.
absolutely. But that family support in any endeavor just
Yeah.
means,
And my brothers and my sisters, all of them. Yeah.
right, because your sister, she was a principal at
Yes. Callaway Middle
at
School.
Callaway Middle.
Yes,
so
sir.
it's really a family of educators.
Yes, sir.
For sure. And so you went to Bethune-Cookman, and I believe you your first coaching job was at Gardner Newman, or did you have a
Yes,
stop
back
before
here.
then?
Well, while I was in Florida, I assisted with Seabreeze High School and Mainland High School.
Okay.
Yeah. So,
Yeah, which, I mean, I love Florida. I go there a lot. It had to be tempting. You get down there, this would not be a bad place to kind of make my home.
Not at all. Like, I had a real nice living situation there also. but
Right.
Family means most to me, so.
Absolutely.
Yes,
but
sir.
but when you start that first coaching job,
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure you were confident that you could do it. But at the same time, there's probably a little bit of doubt, like, God, man, am I really cut out for this? So when you get out
Yeah.
there in those early days, was that just kind of an adjustment, just learning how to be a coach?
It was, because even both of my coaching jobs here, I stepped into roles with big living legends. You know, over there, I helped
Sure.
Coach Lucy Hunt. I came behind here. I had Coach Faye Benjamin. You know, in that first year, of course, it was a lot of pressure, you know, but we ended up winning the championship that
Wow.
first year.
Okay.
And I boo-hoo cried because, you know, I wasn't expecting that. I was trying to get my feet wet, so I just been trying to keep things rolling.
That was a fun team.
A very fun team. I still communicate with just about all of those girls also.
Wow.
So thank
And-
y'all for trusting me too.
No doubt. And Gardner Newman, too. You had quite a successful run there. I think y'all won a league championship. Probably came
Yeah.
close a few other times.
Nah, while I was there, we won all of them.
Oh, really? Okay. Okay.
Yes, sir.
And that's and at the middle school level, you're really teaching the game.
Yes, sir.
Sometimes they get to high school, you're still teaching, but in middle school, you're really getting them early.
Right.
Is that a lot of fun, coaching and teaching on that level?
The girls that I had that time, a lot of them actually went on to play college basketball.
Oh, wow.
So, I mean, they were really dedicated to the sport. And we practiced 6 days a week in middle school.
Wow.
Because they loved the game. And so I worked them as hard as I could.
Right. And coaching for you, it's winning's important.
Yeah.
But I know impacting lives is
That's the
really the
biggest
big
thing.
thing, isn't it?
Yes, sir, those relationships, because, I mean, you develop a good relationship, you know, those girls, the sky's the limit for
Sure.
them. So I have a lot of college graduates, a lot of team leaders at some of these jobs here, so they all make me look good.
Yeah. And winning's nice too, isn't it?
I like to win too, but when you do the big things, well, the little things, rather, the big
Sure.
things take care of themselves.
Right,
Yes, sir.
absolutely. It's a process, and I'm sure even when you're losing, you're
Mm-hmm.
let's keep doing things the right way, and eventually the wins are going to come.
Yes,
and,
sir.
And here at Troop High School, they have.
Yes, sir. I'm grateful for that.
Absolutely. Well, that sounds great. I appreciate it, Coach, and
Thank you.
and we'll be back.
Chapman's Media Photo and Selfie Museum, located at 110 Main Street, LaGrange, Georgia. Business hours are Tuesday through Thursday, appointments only, Friday and Saturday from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. 706-962-6552. 706-962-6552. Again, that's 706-962-6552.
Hello, I am Deborah Mitchell, a registered nurse and a Social Security disability attorney with over 25 years of combined experience in the medical and legal fields. My highly qualified staff and I invite you to come see us for a free Social Security disability evaluation. You can come see us at our Valley office or our new office in Auburn, Alabama off of Bent Creek Road. Give us a call today or visit our website at www.rnlawyer.net and let us help you.
The food is genuinely good here, so we'll be back a lot of times.
Anytime I come and order, everything is just like that.
Hi, I'm Kevin Eckleberry, and I'm back here with Coach Carla Thornton. Once again, I really appreciate you doing this. When we came up with this idea to do this kind of weekly features, you were one of the first people I thought about.
Well, thank you.
I know we were talking a little bit ago. It's there's so much turnover in coaching,
Yes.
and not just at Troop High School, but anywhere. And
Right.
And honestly, 5 years is a long time, and you've been here more than 10 years, I believe.
Yes.
We talked about close to 13
Yes, sir.
years now. And but I wanted to go back to that time at Gardner Newman.
Okay.
When you decided to come back home, obviously you were looking for different opportunities. And what was it kind of about Gardner Newman? First of all, they had an opening,
Right.
number one. But number two was, do you kind of want to get started on the middle school level, or is that just where the job was, so to speak?
Honestly, at the time, I still remember I got a phone call. I was laying in bed, and they was like, "Carla, what are you doing?" I'm like, "Laying down."
Right.
They're like, "You want to come back home for this job?"
Oh,
I
wow.
was like, "What are you talking about?" And it was Mr. Giles. He was one of my former high school teachers.
Okay.
And he was the principal over there at the time. And me and him talked it up on the phone, and he gave me a great opportunity, and I decided to come back and take it.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, Mr. He's another. I've known him forever, and it's in all walks. I feel it this way in my life, that things kind of happen when they're supposed to.
They do.
Is that how it kind of felt for you? It's like, well, I've gone to Florida. I've done what I wanted to here, and now it kind of feels like it's time to come home.
Yeah, like you do have those moments where you miss people because you're away from your family, you're away from all your friends, like you said, high school friends, and sometimes you just want to do stuff for your own people.
Sure.
And so I decided to come back home and help those that are just like me.
Right, absolutely. And you get to Gardner Newman, and what was that experience like? I know we talked about, obviously you're very successful there.
Yes,
But
sir.
in middle school is kind of different too.
It
I mean, you're
is.
getting students that it can be a challenging age
Definitely.
in middle school, and that really gave you a chance to kind of help mold these young people. Was that just a really positive experience for you?
It was for me because, like you said, middle school kids, I'm not going to call them crazy, but they're different because they're going through adolescence.
sure.
You know, you're going through a lot of different changes, and just to meet them at that point in their life. And also, it was kind of a changing point in my life. You know, you're kind of going from an older child to a real adulthood. So we kind of grew together.
Sure. Yeah, at that point, probably in some ways, you still feel like, well, I'm just one of the kids, right? And
Well,
then
I still look like one.
I know, and then you realize, no, I'm the adult here.
Yeah,
So better start acting like it. But in middle school basketball, I know in this community, it's something take really seriously.
It's a big thing, yes,
too,
sir.
and that had to be too when you realize how seriously people take it. I'm
Right.
sure that suited you well because you went there. It's like, well, we're not just doing this for fun. I want to
Right.
win games.
Right. And so a lot of the parents, they bought into the style of play that I had. They were very supportive of everything that I needed, everything I wanted to do. And I shared my vision with them, and they all helped me make it a reality.
Right. And then I believe you were at Gardner Newman for 2 or 3 years.
I technically worked there for 3 years. But
Okay.
I coached basketball for 2 and track for 3 years.
Okay.
there. Yes,
Okay.
sir. So my last year, I was commuting back and forth between there and here.
Gotcha. And like we mentioned, you were there for 2 seasons. They won 2 championships.
One back to back. I couldn't leave because a lot of people said the first one was a fluke.
Gotcha.
So I had to go back and prove it wasn't. Like, we earned this.
Well, you always leave on a high note, right?
Yes, sir. Try to anyway.
And then this opportunity at Troop High School came open, and at the time, Ricky Thrash was the principal here, and he's somebody else. I'm just so fond of him.
Me too.
He's an amazing person, and that was another situation where it's just timing is kind of everything.
Yes, sir.
And sort of like Mr. Giles contacted you about Gardner Newman. I'm sure it was the same thing. Maybe you got a call from Mr. Thrash, but how did that process play
It was.
out?
The first time he called me and he was trying to get me to come over to Troop. Like I said, I had just won the first championship and I was like, I can't leave my girls.
Sure.
Like, we just developed something and we just did something special. I want to try to do it again. So we wanted the second year, so it was like, okay, maybe I do need, another challenge, try something different. He called me again the next year. Like, are you sure you don't want to come over to Troop? So I came and met with him and Coach Jeter and a couple other people, and we just had a great bond, and so I decided to come over that next year.
It felt like the right fit.
It felt like a right fit, yes, sir.
And you replaced, you mentioned her earlier, I believe Coach Faye Benjamin was
Yes.
right before you.
Yes.
And she's kind of a coaching legend
She
too.
is.
She won a lot of games.
Yeah,
And
she's a great person overall.
Sure, and a lot of the banners that are in the gym, she was kind of responsible for.
Yes.
So I'm sure when you took that job, did you kind of, talk to her a little bit? Or?
Yes, sir, I did. We talked to each other quite regularly, honestly, because we actually switched positions.
Oh, really?
So she went and took my job at Gardner Newman, and I came over here, and I was like, Coach, because at the time they don't like for female coaches to teach without coaching a sport.
Okay.
And I was like, I'm not trying to take your job, but I was like, whatever you feel comfortable doing, I want you to do it. I'll be the head girls coach if I need to come back and forth. But she was like, Coach, I'm getting ready to retire in a few years anyways. I might as well try something different.
Sure.
And so we just worked it out where she could teach over there. Then I just come over here. So thank you for that, Coach Benjamin. She's so sweet. Look, she had me working at Camp Viola this summer with her.
Is that right?
Yes.
That's an amazing place
It
too. That's
is.
completely different topic,
is.
Camp Viola.
Yeah.
Is that something? Have you done that before? Was that
I
your
have
first
not.
time doing
It was
that?
my first time, but it was truly eye-opening.
It
It's a great
is.
experience.
It's
yeah.
a special. I know there's a lot of students that get involved with that. So
Yeah, I saw some of my students out there.
That's awesome.
Leading prayers and everything like that. That was pretty dope.
that's tremendous.
Mm-hmm.
So you come to Troop, and I know before that first season, that summer, did you kind of chance to get to know your new players?
Yes, sir. I came over probably in the spring and
Okay.
introduced myself. There were some girls here who I had coached before in middle school.
Right.
And some I had beat while they were at Long Cane. And they're like, that's that lady that beat us by 40. So it's kind of different, but I don't know. We made something shake. Like I said, this is the same team that I just blew out. Now I talk to those girls, and we start blowing people out. So it was wonderful.
It's probably crazy to think about some of those players from that first team. They're all in their 30s. A lot of them have families, careers.
Right,
And you probably
yes.
still see them
I
as
do.
high school students. And it's
Yes.
it's weird. My daughter's 20 years old now, and
Wow,
I
she
look.
that old
She
now?
is, but
Gee.
but you still look at her. You're still my little
Yeah.
girl. So that's how they are for you.
Yeah.
They can be 40, and they're still going to be your players, your
Yes,
girls.
sir. Always.
Right. And it probably, when you came here, it probably helped too that you had that respect level from what you'd done
Yes, sir.
at Gardner Newman. So the players you coached
Mm-hmm.
here, they knew your background, and they knew
Yeah.
knew what you were all about, so that
Yeah.
probably helped, didn't it?
It did. You know, of course, it's an adjustment period too, going from middle school to high school level.
Right.
You know, it's different speed. You know, different coaching style. So it was an adjustment for me also. I had to learn a lot of things, different types of kids. So
Absolutely.
they taught me a lot.
And your coaching style, it's I guess you can call it intense. I don't know. You're very. I mean, you want the best for the players.
Yes,
That's
of course.
And when you talk to them, listen, I'm going to be hard on you.
Yes,
I'm
sir.
going to push you, but it's for the best.
Yes.
Because all you want is for them to get the most out of themselves, not just as players, but as
Right.
people, as students. Is that kind of where that comes from?
It's just like, I just want to be the team. Like, you can have the better team, but I want to outwork you. So I just teach my girls the value of hard work.
Right.
Because that trait will follow you, you know, in life. So we just try to go out there and outwork anybody and try to make people give up.
Sure.
There have been a lot of teams that were more talented than us, but we did what we had to do to get the win.
Sure. Yeah. And your teams, they have fun too.
Oh,
And that's something. Yes, you work hard, but at the same time, it's a game. Basketball
Yeah.
is supposed to be fun.
Yes, sir.
Is that kind of an attitude you try to create as well?
Yes, and that's something I remind them of at practice all the time. Like, basketball is a game. Like,
Sure.
this is supposed to be fun. I don't want to do all this yelling and fussing. That's not what I want to do. I want to teach you, and I want you to go out there and perform and have a good time doing it.
Right.
But it's only fun when you win.
Sure. Yeah, losing's not fun. I have yet to meet a coach that was okay with losing.
Right. It hurts. It hurts.
And I'm not sure when you lose, you don't want players to be happy about it.
You don't. Not. Yeah. Ooh.
But at the same time, you also learn. Is that something when you lose games, you try to take something positive from that?
Yeah, and I can think that the hardest loss that probably hurt us the most, that Cairo game, when we had all that mess happen, but just knowing you were the better team, a lot of things happened that were out of our control. Then, like, as a coach, of some things that I couldn't
Sure.
help my kids, and I just felt helpless at the time. So, like, as much as I want to win the game, part of me knew we probably should have lost, because I know my
Sure.
girls didn't work as hard as they could
Right,
have. And
yeah.
so I was like, we can't blame anyone but ourselves, because we didn't work up to our potential.
That Cairo game, that was an interesting night. That was, I believe, that was a year after y'all played for a state championship.
Yes, sir.
So it was 2021, and I was at that game. It was the semifinals.
Yes, sir.
A lot of things went wrong that night. But it's one of those things from
Yeah.
basketball and beyond.
Right.
That's kind of a lesson too. Life's not always fair.
Not at all.
Bad things are going to happen, and
And
you
people
just.
try to spin it and make you look bad, and it's crazy.
But when you go back to those early days of Troop, I believe it was your first year, or one of your first years, y'all won a region championship.
Yes, sir.
That's pretty early on. Is
Yes.
that, when you look back, is that, obviously y'all play for a state championship, that's incredible. But that team that won a region championship, is that one of those teams that really just stands out for you?
Definitely. That was a very special team to me, just because the girls bought in to everything that I asked them to do. Even that day, I think we were short. We were down 7 players.
Wow.
You know, they didn't play in Carrollton, which has always been a perennial power. And I don't know, it was just one of my players, you know, her grandma had just passed, so we were
Right.
trying to win it for her too. So it was just a lot going on in that moment. And just to win it
Wow.
at home.
Yes.
So if I could have played another one at home, maybe we'd be in the same boat.
I know. Yeah, that was in the old gym.
Yeah.
When that was such a fun day. It was a packed house
Yeah,
in
the
there.
boys played
and
region championship that night also.
did, and y'all were playing Carrollton, who at that time still is just a
Yeah.
powerhouse team. And,
Always.
And that team was so much fun, and some of the players from that team went on to do big things. I know
did.
that was I believe Shemaya.
Yes, sir.
And y'all had the guard from that team.
Tanisha Jackson, Jessica Gilbert,
Yes.
Maya Potts. Yeah, quite a few girls that were on that team.
And
Marissa
those-
Swain, yeah.
Wow, and those are players you're still close to them,
I am.
even now, aren't you?
Yes, sir. Those are my family members. Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
absolutely. And then y'all follow that up in some more good years, and then the program kind of has a bit of a down period, which every team has those ebbs and
Tables
flows.
always turn.
And so when you went through those difficult years, I think it was back-to-back years with just a handful of wins,
Yeah, 2 wins.
which is tough. But at the same time, as a coach, is it just, I'm just going to stay the course and just, I haven't forgotten how to coach. It's just at some point, these young players are going to develop.
Right.
When you're going through those tough times, is that what it comes down to? Is just staying patient and believing in yourself?
Yes, and as a coach, you learn a lot during those years. You have to teach, obviously, a lot, but you learn a lot for the people. Like, no matter how much you lose or what you lose by, those players, they keep showing up day after day after day. They don't stop coming just because you're losing. Sometimes you're winning and why aren't you at practice? You have to call looking for people. So, like, I respect those girls a whole lot.
Well, they played hard.
They did. Yeah, you had to beat us now. Don't think you could just walk in the gym and get a win. You had to beat us, but we couldn't finish.
Right. And again, a lot of those same players, they stuck with the program.
Yes, sir.
And they were a part of kind of the resurgence.
Yeah, exactly. They helped turn things back around. Yeah, the junior, senior year.
Right. And when things do turn, that had to be just incredibly satisfying too, because I'm sure you got a sense probably this summer before y'all really got things turned around. Did you kind of get the sense that okay, we're about to get things rolling again now?
Yeah, you see the talent, you scout the talent level that you have. You see how they pick up on plays, defensive schemes, because you have to know a lot to be successful too. You can't just get out there and play. Sometimes it may look like that, but there's method to the madness.
Right.
So,
right.
Yes, sir. But yeah, you can kind of tell.
Sure. And I believe it's probably the 18-19 season. I believe y'all started winning, and it's kind of an unfortunate pattern for y'all. You reach the region championship game, but fall short. But still to have that kind of run.
Right. And honestly, sometimes as a coach, I made it to quite a few big games here. Played about 5, 6 region championships, only won one.
Right.
So, sometimes as a coach, you feel like a failure. You're like, man, I can get to the big stage, but I can't get over the hump.
Sure.
Like, so you have to self-reflect, like, what can I do better to make it past that point? So.
Y'all have lost to some pretty dang good teams, so in those region championship games.
That's true, too.
I mean, y'all been in the region with Carver, who was traditionally one of the state's best programs.
Right.
So, but the good news is you lose a region championship game, the season's not
over.
Not over. So that 18-19 season, y'all get to state, and I think y'all lost in the first round that year. But the good news is almost all those players.
Yeah, I didn't have any seniors that year.
And when y'all finish that season, you lose that last game. Is your message to the players, let's kind of remember what this feeling is like losing at state. Take this and let's come back and.
Yeah, and that was a lot of stuff surrounding that moment in time too. And thing was turn tragedy into triumph. You went through a lot of unfortunate things that happened, and we just bonded together and became closer and tighter, and we just worked hard for each other and made sure we all had some success and something to cheer for.
Right. One of your players, a freshman player, actually lost a brother.
Yes, sir.
In a shooting.
Yes, sir.
It was just a couple of days before.
Yeah, it was a tough time for all of us. He was just at the game, that region championship game.
Sure. Yeah. I'm sure probably you had a discussion with the players. Do we even play this game? And were they?
They wanted to do it for her.
Wow.
I did. Yeah.
It still had to be tough, though. Just getting the players to focus on getting the coaches to focus on basketball had to be a challenge.
It was very tough, and you see it didn't go well for us.
Sure.
Like I said, sometimes things are just bigger than basketball. So at that time, winning wasn't very important to me. I had to make sure she was okay.
Sure. And at the same time, you hear the cliche that teams are like families.
Yes.
And at that point in time, it absolutely, I'm sure, felt like a family, and to be able to be there for a player who's suffered that kind of loss.
Right.
I'm sure probably there's no place she would have rather have been, and I'm sure y'all were really glad to be able to be there for her.
Yeah, because she showed up for us that night. We weren't expecting her to, but thank you so much for that, Momo. She wanted to be a source of strength for us to let us know that she was okay. So we appreciate her for that, but. Yeah, we'll do anything for each other, any of us.
And that was such a fun group, and it was a young group too. That was the time. I think there were a handful of freshmen who would go on to be such a big part of this program,
right?
Including Anaya Palmer, who's now at Mississippi State, which is amazing.
It is.
And so it had to be exciting for you at that time, knowing, boy, this group, we've got a chance to really do something special.
Yes, sir.
And just could you kind of that group of freshmen, that whole team, they were talented, but did they also have a drive?
They did, especially to be young players. They were really motivated. Like I'm saying, we practice 6-7 days a week. You know, you have individual workouts Saturday morning, Sundays you come in, you have open gym.
Sure.
I had some former troop players come back, even some former basketball players in the community come back and play with us,
right.
and even teach them the game from their point of view.
Right.
So I mean, I knew the work we put in, so
Sure.
I already knew we were going to have a successful season because we worked our butts off that
Sure,
year.
yeah. And I know the coach likes to get out there on the court with them every now and then too, right? Show them that you can still play.
Oh, definitely. Like, they're not going to listen to me if I can't do it myself. So
Right.
I'll never have my players do anything that I can't do.
Right, except I believe you hurt yourself playing kickball once, I think, which is another story.
I tore my hamstring playing kickball.
Yeah. All those, you did have the ACL, and think I'm good now.
I've had a lot of injuries. Yeah, I'm back, bionic woman now. Yeah, I feel pretty good. I'm put back together again.
But yeah, going to that team, that was such a fun team. And like I said, you coming into the 2019-2020 season, as y'all get ready for that season, I'm sure, did you think this is a team, we absolutely have a chance to win the whole thing? Did you kind of get that sense?
Honestly, I never try to look that far.
Sure.
You know you have a chance to be good, even a chance to be great, but I'm always a game at a time. Like I always
Right.
have tunnel vision.
Sure.
I can only see what's next. I can't see anything other than that.
Right.
So I try not to get ahead of myself.
Right. Yeah. If you look at the big picture is great, but as a coach, it's kind of important to be focused on the little picture too, right? Game by game,
Yes,
quarter
sir.
by quarter.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. But at the same time, y'all start that season and just start winning and winning and winning and winning.
Yeah. Yeah, it was kind of strange.
It was such a fun season, and I know we're going to talk quite a bit more about that season. Boy, it was such a fun ride.
It was.
And y'all beat some incredible teams along the way.
We did.
And when we come back, we're going to talk a lot about that team.
Sounds good.
Chapman's Media Photo and Selfie Museum, located at 110 Main Street, LaGrange, Georgia. Business hours are Tuesday through Thursday, appointments only, Friday and Saturday from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. 706-962-6552. 706-962-6552. Again, that's 706-962-6552.
Hello, I am Deborah Mitchell, a registered nurse and a Social Security disability attorney with over 25 years of combined experience in the medical and legal fields. My highly qualified staff and I invite you to come see us for a free Social Security disability evaluation. You can come see us at our Valley office or our new office in Auburn, Alabama off of Bent Creek Road. Give us a call today or visit our website at www.rnlawyer.net and let us help you.
The food is genuinely good here, so we'll be back a lot of times.
Anytime I come and order, everything's just like that.
I'm Kevin Eckelberry. I'm back here with Coach Carla Thornton, and once again, I appreciate you doing
Yes,
this.
sir.
It's been so cool to talk to you and just kind of get your thoughts on coaching and everything. And once again, we're here in the True Pod Gymnasium. We're up a little high, and again, this place is just so spectacular. And this was also a building that's had some incredible moments.
Yes, sir.
For you.
Yes.
And I believe, was this open when y'all made your run to the...
It was. It opened that year.
It was that same season.
Yes.
That was the 2019-2020 season.
I don't know.
And we were talking before. I know y'all had a really good season the year before.
Yes, sir.
Everybody's back.
Yes, sir.
And so coming into that season, you never know for sure what's going to happen. But you start off, you win that first game, you win that second game, and you just keep winning.
Right.
At some point, do you realize, even though you're focused on each game, you start thinking, this team can do it. This team can make a championship run.
I don't think my mind got like that until like maybe going into region tournament play. Like I said, we had a very talented team, but my girls always told me that was their dream.
Right.
That's what they wanted. So it was my job to do my job to the best of my ability to make sure that they got to that point.
And that team did not lose a game in the regular season.
Not at
And
all.
y'all played some really good teams.
We did.
And that was a good region y'all were in.
Yes, sir.
And to accomplish that, obviously you finished the regular season. There's still a lot of work to do. But still, to make it through an entire regular season without a loss,
Yes, sir.
that was a really incredible accomplishment. How proud were you of what the players were able to do?
I was really proud because I had a lot of talented girls on my team that year, and unfortunately, you can only start 5.
Sure.
So we had to get people to buy into their roles. You know, 2 people had to come off the bench.
Right.
I think state playoffs we went 7-man rotation.
Right.
And so everybody bought into their roles and brought what needed to be brought each and every night.
Right. Then y'all get to the region tournaments, get to the championship game, and I'm sure y'all go in confident. Was that Sandy Creek?
Yes, sir, Sandy Creek.
And it was at their place.
Yes, sir.
It was one of those nights, a lot of things, kind of like Kara, a lot of things go wrong. Probably some calls that maybe
Very questionable.
were questionable. But, and y'all lose that game,
Yes, sir.
which is so disappointing.
Very.
But you get the girls in the locker room afterward, and yes, we lost, but it's not the last game.
Right.
So when y'all come back to practice, is that kind of the mindset? The season starts now. Was that kind of what the thought process was?
Yes, and you know, losing a game, it kind of motivated us.
Sure.
And unfortunately, you have people preying on our downfall. Like, I even had some people like, Coach, it might be best if y'all go ahead and lose a game now so you can go ahead. I'm like, why would you say something like that? Like, I don't want to lose if we're on this road, but it relit a fire within us. And the girls like, Coach, we're not losing again. Like, we're going to make it to the championship.
Right.
I'm like, oh, that's how you feel? I said, all right, let's do it.
Absolutely. And y'all get to the state tournament. Y'all hosted a game here.
Yes,
and
sir.
you go in confident, but at the same time, that group had not won a state tournament game yet.
Right.
So I can't remember who y'all played in the first round, but
Me either.
it was here. But to get that win, to get that state win, even though it was the team y'all were better than.
Yes.
But you maybe have
Chastity, that's what it was.
chastity.
Yes.
You still have maybe just a shred of doubt because we haven't done it before.
Yeah, and we didn't play well that game.
But they still won.
Yes, sir.
And to get that state win, was that kind of a relief?
Yes, getting over the hump. Like I know me and Coach Martin from Callaway had talked. We were like, man, one of us got to get over the hump.
Sure.
We're making it to the state tournament, but we all keep getting put out.
Right.
So we were like, hey, one of us got to do it. So it happened to be us. And he's been doing the same thing though.
Yeah, Deanna and Martin at Callaway, and they're having a great run right now too. They've been in the quarterfinals.
Right. Yeah, I go and support him. I go watch.
Absolutely. Yeah, he's a tremendous coach and a great guy
Yes,
too,
sir.
on top of it.
Yes, sir.
So y'all win that first state game, and it's like, okay, now there's only 16 teams left.
Yeah.
And then you also know at this point, all these teams are going to be good.
Yes.
And y'all really did not have any easy games
Not
after
at all.
that. The second round, so you get that win, and then you get to the...
We had to go to Augusta, Cross Creek.
That was
a buzzer beater.
Yes, that was, I believe, was it was it Anaya Palmer that made the game-winning
No,
shot?
she made the game-winning assist.
Alexia
Alexia Murphy.
Murphy, who was a freshman at that point.
Yeah, she made a short floater, and I'm like, we're like, backboard. And Lex, with her little left hand, and went nothing but net, and we went crazy.
Yeah, what an amazing moment.
Yes.
Because that's the problem being a 2 seed, you're going to have to go on the road.
Right.
To get a win like that,
right.
I just can't imagine what that was like. What was that moment like?
Man, it was like, it was so intense, and we actually had a lot of fans travel down with us, and so seeing their parents in the stands, seeing other people, like, it just, I don't know, it just made us feel incredible. So
I can't remember, one of the parents, I think it was streaming it live on Facebook, and it was and she provided some great kind of humorous commentary, but it just captured. But to me, that's what tournament basketball is all about, are those incredible finishes. And if they did not have a sense of belief before, you win a game like that. It's like, oh my gosh, there's nothing. On the bus ride home, was that kind of the belief? There's nothing we can't do now.
In a sense, because I mean, we just kept the faith. It's crazy because, like, in the time, I called a timeout on the girl's second free throw. And I was like, y'all, she's going to miss this free throw. And I was like, all right, Anaya, this your rebound. You got the rebound. We still got, looked at the clock, had like 4 seconds. I was like, drive down the court as hard as you can. You fast enough. You got 4 seconds to lay the ball up. Because we actually practiced that all the time at practice, getting down the court in 4 dribbles. And laying the ball up, and so it was just like practice to me. And sure enough, she missed the rebound and went off to Anaya's side. And everything clicked just like I had spoke. So it was crazy. Spoke it into existence.
And there's a reason, you tell the players, there's a reason why we practice stuff. You never know. It might not come up, but then again, it might. And so that's to see them put what they've learned to the test in that kind of pressure situation. It's like, okay, maybe I am making an impact on them.
It means to have faith in them, because I'm sure a lot of people wanted me to call a timeout there and set something up, and I was like, nah, we're going to catch defense off guard while they're in transition. That's always been our strong point in playing in transition.
And maybe not give your players a chance to really think about it and dwell on it too.
We would have messed it up.
But then y'all win that game, and then you get to the third round, and that was another tough game. McDonough, and that was also on the road. Because really after that first round, it was all on the road.
And we were the underdog in like each of those games.
And McDonough was another tough game. It was a big crowd that day, and they were a tough team. That was just one of those games. Let's just try to find a way to survive this, and they did that day.
They did, because Anaya had a really bad game. Lexi, she had her breakout game, and she had 26 points.
And that, to me, was the great thing about that team, is y'all had so many different weapons. If somebody like Fanaya or Amber Gilbert was having an off game, there was somebody else who could pick up the slack. Is that part of the reason what made that team so special?
It was. You had to pick your poison each night. No matter who you tried to guard or stop, the next person was just going to step up, because they practice every day just like the other players, so they were ready.
And y'all beat McDonough. Does not get any easier after that, because then that sets up a showdown with Carver, which was coming off a state championship. And it's a team that a lot of people thought was probably going to repeat. And that game, it was played at Fort Valley State. And the thing that stood out to me, I remember going to that game, was how much support y'all had.
We had a lot.
And that is, you go through that run.
For a girls team, that's amazing.
To me, that was so inspiring to see the way, and it wasn't just Troop High School, it was the way the whole community embraced that team. Was that really one of the special things about that team?
It was, as a coach, you want to reach out and text and respond to everyone, but my phone was blowing up like all day, every day, from fans to news stations to just everybody. And I kind of just wanted to focus on basketball, but I couldn't have done it without them. I know that's for sure.
Absolutely. So you get to Fort Valley State and you play Carver, and y'all played such a great game that day. It was kind of, everything just really sort of came together that day, and it was, y'all kind of dominated them, which I can't remember what the final score ended up being, but y'all were really in control from the start to the finish. And to see everything kind of come together that day, that had to be so incredibly impactful for you.
Because even though they lost their best player at that time, they still had other D1 players on their team. So I was like, don't take them lightly. They still have plenty of talent. And so there were some adjustments we made at halftime that helped even more. And like I said, my girls bought in, they listened to me, and it worked out. But
And you talk about a celebration. I mean, it's not the last game, but still, you win, you know. It's
you
like
make history. We make history.
in the old football days, you get to the semifinals, it's like, we're going to the Georgia Dome.
Yeah,
that's
that's
how
a
it was
big
for y'all.
deal.
You win, we're going to Bacon.
Yeah.
And it kind of one of my favorite moments, I think I got a picture of this actually, was you hugging your mom.
Yeah.
And that's, when you look back, that's probably one of those moments that stands out, and you think, man, the way she's supported me, she's been with me every step of the way.
Yes, sir.
And to be able to celebrate that moment
Yeah.
with her like that, it's like, how do you not get emotional?
Yeah, I know, right? So you're going to try to make me emotional now.
God, it was such a special day. At the same time, the work's not done.
It's not over.
At that point.
Not over.
And then you get to Macon and to play America's Sumter High School.
Yes.
Well, they were good.
they were great. You have to give respect where respect is due. They were great
And
too.
it was a competitive game. And y'all, the whole game, it seems like y'all right there kind of within 10 points.
Yeah, we
And
dug
y'all-
ourselves in a hole that first quarter. The other 3 quarters, we outscored them.
Right. So, like I say, fall behind early and y'all would kind of get
Foul
close.
trouble got us.
Just everybody was in foul trouble. And it was a combination. Number one, they were an outstanding team.
Right, you can't make mistakes.
It was not y'all's best game.
Nah.
And foul trouble. And so they end up winning.
Yeah.
Which you hate to get that close and lose.
Right.
But at the same time, y'all made it to the state championship game. Only lost 2 games
Yes, sir.
all season.
Yes.
And when you're in the locker room afterward, everybody's disappointed.
Right.
But did you, at that point, what was kind of your message to the players?
I just had to remind them how proud I actually was of them. Like I said, to make history not once but twice.
Sure.
You know, you brought the whole community out.
It did.
Everybody's here to support you. Like, go out with your heads held high.
Right.
Like, not many girls basketball teams around here have made it to that point. You know, far and few in between. So don't be defeated in this
Right.
moment. Like, you have a lot of greatness in you, and appreciate that for right now. Like,
Absolutely. And another little interesting bit of trivia, I think it was that following week after y'all played for a
COVID.
state championship that pretty much the world shut down.
Yeah.
Shut down because of COVID. So I'm just so grateful that y'all were able to
Me
get
too.
to
Probably
that
it was
point.
so cold in there. We probably froze COVID up. We playing on top of that ice.
I know, and I don't like to think about the fact I was shoulder to shoulder with so many people, but it was what it was.
Yeah.
And after y'all follow that up with another great season, you make
Yes,
it to the semifinals
Yes,
and,
sir.
and lose to Cairo like we talked
Yes, sir.
about. And then last season was another terrific season. Unfortunately, Anaya Palmer, who was
Yeah.
a senior and was obviously the key
Right.
player on that team.
Yes.
She goes down early with the shoulder injury.
Right.
But that team continued to fight, and
Yeah.
that was probably almost as satisfying for you as playing for a championship, seeing the way that team came together.
I was real proud of last season's team. You know, a lot of people, you know, it was hard for me, honestly, you know, losing my grandmother at the
Sure.
beginning.
Right.
And so that was this period where, you know, I had to refine myself. So basketball wasn't really my priority. So the first couple of games, like I was there, but I wasn't there. And so, like I said, not having Anaya, having to change your whole concept of your team around, you know, offensively and defensively. So we found something that worked for us, and we ended up in a region championship game again.
Right, absolutely.
And made it to the second round of state. We actually were within 2 points of the number 1 team in the
Right.
fourth quarter. And we just hit a wall.
Sure.
Couldn't make any more baskets after that. So I was like, if I've ever coached, we coached last year, me and my staff. We made something happen. We made something out of nothing.
No doubt. And that was that special group of seniors
Yes.
too that were kind of there from the start, Anaya and the other group.
Yeah.
And to say goodbye to that group of players.
Right, Monye
that had to be
Murphy,
tough.
like she was the glue to last year's
Right.
team. Like she held everything together, especially from a point guard position, and just make sure the girls were doing what they need to do. So I'm grateful for her and her leadership last year.
Sure, and it's going to be so fun to see what all those players do after high school, including Anaya Palmer.
Yes.
Like we talked about, she's at Mississippi State
Yes, sir.
now. She's healthy.
Yeah.
She's just, and I have no doubt she's going to succeed. She has that drive, and,
Right.
and she's just an easy player to root
Right.
for.
And she knows I'll be there. I don't mind traveling, so I'll just pull up.
That starts
Fly up. It
not
doesn't
too
matter.
far away.
Nah, it's never too far away from me for one of my girls. I'll go wherever.
No. And my hope is one day I'm going to be, hopefully I'll still be here when y'all break through and win that state championship.
Yeah, welcome to
It's gonna-
BTV. Yeah.
I love it. And it's going to be such a great day. And like personally, I just have such incredible respect for
Thank you. Same to you.
what you do as a coach, but also your leadership. And I know this community and this school is better for having you here.
Thank you so much.
And I appreciate you so much for doing this, Coach Thornton.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much.